BTS news. That day, Los Angeles beach was bathed in sunlight that reflected off the waves, turning the white sand into a golden sea of light. The ocean breeze carried the salty aroma of the Pacific, and among the bustle of tourists sunbathing or strolling along the shore, a piece of news suddenly spread like wildfire, sparking an uproar no one could have imagined. BTS, the global group that in recent months had left ARMY puzzled with mysterious signs, suddenly appeared in a surprise WEVERSE live broadcast straight from this very beach. There was no official announcement, no warning from the agency, not even a trace on HYBE Entertainment's neatly organized public schedule. Everything felt sudden, filled with surprise, and behind it all, a strange silence. HYBE itself issued no statement. The broadcast began with the sound of wind rushing into the microphone, mixed with light, familiar laughter. The screen revealed silhouettes of a few figures sitting casually on the sand, with the waves gently rolling behind them. ARMYs who opened the WEVERSE app in those first few seconds froze. More than one, several BTS members were present. Jungkook, his hair tousled by the wind, appeared first in the frame, dressed in a simple black hoodie but exuding an undeniable aura. He looked at the camera with a faint smile, then glanced sideways as if signaling someone. Then Jimin's voice came through, warm but with a faint tremble. "You didn't expect us to be here, right?" The reaction from ARMY around the world exploded instantly. The WEVERSE comment section filled with virtual screams, crying emojis, hearts, and countless questions stacking on top of one another. No one expected them to do this in Los Angeles, especially after such a long stretch when the world seemed to lose sight of their clear activities together. Jungkook, who was focused on the camera, let out a small laugh and covered his face with his hand, as if hiding something. But that was exactly when the strangeness began to rise. There was a tremor in their voices, a secret they seemed to want to share, yet kept back. That day, LA Beach was no longer just an ordinary holiday spot. It became the witness of a moment that instantly became the center of global attention. Some passers-by on the beach suddenly ran closer, raising their phones high to capture the live broadcast unfolding. From the live camera, shadows of surprised onlookers could sometimes be seen. The members' presence in a public space without major official security was unusual, considering their normally tight standards of safety. Yet here they were, raw and unguarded, just a group of young men sitting on the sand, joking, sharing stories. But the strangeness deepened when Jimin looked at Jungkook with eyes that seemed on the verge of tears. He fell silent for a moment, clutching the sand tightly, as if seeking strength from something fragile. The camera zoomed closer, capturing the heavy silence. Jungkook finally spoke, his voice hoarse against the wind. "We can't tell you much right now. But today, here, being with you even just through a screen, it feels like something we had to do, even if no one knows the reason." Those words, simple but full of weight, instantly ignited countless speculations. What was really happening? Why did they choose this way to appear? And why was HYBE completely silent? The broadcast instantly shot to the top of global trends on every social media platform. Hashtags like hashtag BTSLAWEVERSE, hashtag Jungkook at the beach, and hashtag HYBE silent soared worldwide. Korean and international media rushed to report the story from various angles. Some highlighted the positive surprise, calling it a rare form of spontaneity and intimacy from BTS in an era ruled by strict schedules. Others saw it as a sign of something much bigger, perhaps something hidden, unspoken, not yet ready for announcement. The fact that the agency gave no press release or response only deepened the mystery. Midway through, Taeyong suddenly appeared, holding a small, slightly worn guitar. He sat beside Jungkook and began strumming a simple melody that blended with the sound of the waves. Jungkook hummed along, while Jimin looked at them with a bittersweet smile. It wasn't just a musical performance. It felt like a confession. They longed for simpler times, when things were more honest and raw. No grand stage, no spotlights, just the beach, the wind, and them, sharing a small moment with ARMY. But then, the moment that silenced the world came. The camera shifted, revealing Yoongi sitting slightly apart, gazing at the ocean with an empty look. He had spoken little during the live, but when he finally did, his words were short yet striking. "There's something you need to know, but we can't say it yet. Just trust us." After that, he lowered his head as if holding back emotions. Jungkook reached over, gently patting Yoongi's shoulder, offering silent strength. Army watching felt the tension so vividly, flooding the comments with endless questions. The live lasted for over an hour, filled with laughter that sometimes felt forced, long silences, and flickers of emotion hard to explain. Several times, the connection faltered as millions of viewers tried to join. At the end, Jimin closed with a faint but piercing line. "We may not appear as often as before, but today we saw each other again. And that's enough, at least for now." He smiled, then glanced at Jungkook, who only stared back silently. The screen slowly faded, and WEVERSE turned black. The broadcast ended, leaving the world in collective silence. Outside, media kept pressing HYBE for answers. But by nightfall, the agency still remained silent, letting the mystery grow. Fans speculated endlessly. Was this a sign of a major announcement? Were they holding on to a secret project? Or was it something more personal, something about their bond with each other? There was no clear answer, only fragments filled with questions. LA Beach, usually just a leisure destination, became an icon of mystery. Photos of BTS members sitting on the sand, their expressions laden with meaning, spread across the globe. Journalists, fans, and pop culture analysts debated endlessly. Some called it a signal of freedom, a subtle act of defiance against industry control. Others believed it was just the beginning of something much bigger, a new chapter that could redefine BTS forever. But one thing was certain. That day, under the Los Angeles sun, BTS returned in the simplest, most honest, yet most bewildering way. They gave no answers, only questions far greater. HYBE could stay silent. The world could stay confused. But ARMY knew. Behind all the mystery, something was waiting to be revealed. As night fell over Los Angeles, replacing the golden glow of the day with a dim moonlit shore. The ocean waves reflected a quieter light. But that silence was nowhere near the storm raging online. The WEVERSE Live had set the internet ablaze. On Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and fan forums, clips were replayed endlessly, analyzed frame by frame. Every glance from Jungkook, every gaze from Jimin, even Yoongi's quiet sigh was scrutinized by millions. Meanwhile, HYBE still refused to comment. Calls from global media went unanswered. Emails to the official press inbox received only a template reply. "We have no statement at this time." Their silence only added to the drama. Where earlier ARMY felt curiosity, now they felt unease. Some worried something serious was happening behind the scenes. Others believed it was part of a long-planned strategy. On one international ARMY forum, a user wrote, "Why did Jimin look like he was holding back tears? Why did Jungkook seem like he wanted to say more, but was restrained?" The comment drew thousands of replies. Some agreed. Some argued they were just tired, while others dared to speculate further. Maybe there was conflict with the agency. Maybe it was a subtle protest, or perhaps the beginning of an announcement that BTS was taking a completely new path. Meanwhile, eyewitnesses from the beach began sharing accounts. A Japanese tourist told local media she had seen BTS members walking along the shoreline about 2 hours before the live. They looked relaxed, but something felt off. Several times they stopped, talked seriously, and even looked emotional. "I thought it was just casual conversation," she said. "But after watching the live, I feel they were holding back something big."